I love smoking aces probably more than most people, but all of those assassins were highly trained. Let's get controversial, shall we? You already did.
I dig down deep, 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 deep.
I'm Jesse Pettyboat and you're watching Dig Deep, the show where we take a complicated topic and make it easier. For the 2018 election, come on down for the ballot bonanza. We're breaking down every single ballot measure in both Washington and Oregon, so you can vote smart. I spent hours reading Ballotpedia and researching, so all you have to do is watch this video. I'll give you the background and the facts, and then I'll give you my scalding wit and researched opinions. You don't have to vote how I do, but you sure as heck can't be ignorant. Voting yes on Measure 1639 would increase background checks and age limits and implement a waiting period for semi-automatic rifles, and implement storage requirements and new purchasing restrictions for all firearms. Voting no on Measure 1639 would keep Washington's existing 43 gun control laws, but implement no new ones. Gun control debates often pit these two groups against each other. I'm gonna take everyone's guns away because I don't like loud noises. I gave birth to this assault rifle. It is the heir to my farm. Meanwhile, we're out here trying to make some pretty common sense gun laws that I'm really surprised we don't already have. So take a deep breath, calm the down, and keep watching. Let's start with the common sense stuff in Measure 1639. Have a warrant out for your arrest? Can't buy a gun. Criminal charges still uploading to the background check system? The police can manually hold your application so you don't slip through the cracks. And you have to submit an application to buy a gun at all so we can check the stuff. And the application will have the following text on it. Caution, the presence of a firearm in the home has been associated with an increased risk of death to self and others, including an increased risk of suicide, death during domestic violence incidents, and unintentional deaths to children and others. Because it do. Next, it's currently easier to buy a semi-automatic rifle than a handgun because there's a bunch of laws on the national level about handguns specifically. Most of Measure 1639 aims to make it just as difficult to buy a semi-auto because, like, why would it be easier? Washington already requires a background check when you purchase a firearm. However, 1639 makes a more in-depth system, which requires you to submit an application, and with it, proof that you passed a safety test and written approval from the police that you passed in the background check system. If you're well-trained and eligible, you still have to wait 10 days after you submit your application to get your semi-auto. Why? Because 10 days can turn this, "I'm so mad why I oughta shoot somebody," to this, "Oh no, that was like a week ago. I'm calm now. I only take paid assassin gigs like Alicia Keys." The most controversial part of Measure 1639 is an increase in the age limit to buy a semi-automatic rifle from 18 to 21. Why? Statistically, people ages 18 to 20 are more likely to commit firearm homicides. And you have to be 21 to buy a handgun, so once again, why is it easier to buy a semi-automatic rifle? The argument against that is that people ages 18 to 20 are able to vote and serve in the military. So why can't they buy a gun? And then the argument back against that is that voting doesn't directly kill people, and people in the military are extensively trained, like the assassins and smoking aces. And that other purchases that are hazardous also require you to be 21, like alcohol. This last part is also stirring up quite a bit of controversy. Under Measure 1639, if you don't safely store your firearms and then a prohibited person gets a hold of that gun and kills some people, you could be charged with a Class C felony. People are mad about this because they say it infringes on their ability to use a gun in self-defense, and they point to a court case that said that's unconstitutional. We'll see if a future court decides that precedent applies to this situation. But here's my thoughts on it. In the 20 years since Columbine, 80% of school shooters brought a gun from home, and of those, 70% were under 18. So 56% of school shooters would have had to find a different gun somehow if the one at their home had been properly secured. And then I think about how most shootings are suicides, and far too many are accidents done by children, and both could be avoided by properly securing a firearm. And then you compare that to people who want to leave a gun, and I'm assuming it's loaded, somewhere with quick access for some scenario of self-defense. At the end of the day, if you want to take that big of a risk for your self-defense, then you also can take the risk of getting a Class C felony for leaving a gun where someone who doesn't know how to safely handle it could get a hold of it. I sleep with my gun. Usually I'm the big spoon, but sometimes I like to feel the trigger against my... If you like this video, don't forget to punch that like button and send it over to your friends because they need to vote too. Subscribe for more videos like this, and then check out the Election 2018 playlist for every single ballot bonanza video. Then it's time to vote. You can vote by mail, drop off, or in person. And you can find deadlines and locations and more at vote.org or by googling Vote Washington or Vote Oregon. See you on the other side.